Technical difficulties for the not technically savvy are always fun. Anyways, hello. It's been a while since I've last spoken to you all. I've had a crazy year. I moved to Chicago, got a cat. Hold on, I'll show you. I'd like you guys to meet Theo. And he's gonna start biting. He's just like mother-like son. He's a feisty one. And he lets me know when he doesn't like to be carried, but I don't listen. This is a healthy relationship we have. Okay, enough of that, sweetie. Stop, don't even think about it. He also doesn't respond to getting a little bit of a pow-pow. I think honestly he likes it. But anyways, that's besides the point. Today, I wanted to talk about, so one of my biggest passions is education and how our education system does not prep you for real life. I also think that our education system assesses students on how well a fish, how do I describe this? Okay. I also think that our education system very much tests people. Okay, let me say that again. The perfect summary of our education system is this quote where, I don't know who it's by, but it's basically, how can you test a fish? Okay, I'm blanking. It's okay, it's all right. So yeah, our education system is very much geared towards people who are gifted in certain areas. And there's a quote that says, you can't assess a fish on how well it can climb a tree. And it's basically to show that all of us have different talents, and sometimes the education system tries to funnel us into the same way of thinking, like, oh, being good at math or being good at history. I don't feel like there's a balance in our education system. And so, with that being said, I think that with our education system, we're not cherished for our specific and special gifts that we have. All right, so moving along to the content of this video. This one is geared more towards my high school students who are about to go into college or applying to college. I think around this time, students are getting decisions back. So this is a pretty stressful time, and I wanted to put it out there, 5 things that they don't tell you about college students. And when I mean they, I mean the education system. But I think that one of the things that was extremely important that I didn't realize, and I now realize its importance in hindsight, is being an RA is the best financial decision you can make for yourself. I went to Virginia Tech, and I think with Virginia, it probably depends on the school that you go to. I'm so sorry, Theo's hair is like on my face now. This was a bad idea it's okay. Being an RA is the best thing you could do for yourself. Everyone knows that Everyone knows that going to college is one of the most expensive things you can do. It's equivalent to buying a house. Its tuition is it's absurd. When you become an RA, at least how it is at majority of schools that I've heard of, is that they either pay you a stipend or they give you some type of scholarship. I know at Virginia Tech, they pay you a stipend, and they also don't charge you for room and board, which is great because you're living on campus. Granted, being an RA has its pros and cons, but I think in the long run, I was an RA from my sophomore year all the way till I graduated. And it was the best because I didn't have to pay for where I was sleeping, I didn't have to pay for my dorm. The stipend covered my food expenses. And so I think it's great. It's a job, but it's also more of a non-traditional job because you live where you work. But I also feel like I learned so many different skills, soft skills, that were substantially helpful for my future. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, I feel like you're gonna hear about this a lot in orientation, but if a professor knows you and sees your work ethic, they are much more likely to help you, especially towards the end where your grade probably needs some type of lift, a little bit of Botox to wake it up a bit. College is tough, and at least depending on your major, but regardless, college is tough because you're all like your first time by yourself and all that stuff. But knowing the professor, going to office hours, asking questions in class, it does feel intimidating to ask questions for sure. I wasn't the type of person who always asked questions, especially if it was a bigger class size. But if you go to office hours, it has helped me so much because first I'm getting that one-on-one attention that I think I need to properly understand the material. Second is I've been in situations where I needed my grade, like it was like a rounding thing where my grade was like it was never a 95 point whatever, but we'll just pretend I was getting A's in college all the time. If it was a 95.55 and I was like, please, can you round it up so that it's like a higher A? If the professor knew me and saw that I was grinding to do well in the class, he would help me out or she would help me out. That doesn't always work, and some professors are even willing to give you a more dramatic change, or they'll say, if you get this grade on your final, then I'll bump you to this. I've had that before. So just want to put it out there. You sort of want to be besties with your professor because they'll help you out with even what's going to be on the test, and some people just won't have that information. So just trying to help you out here. Oh my gosh, don't get married to your major. I thought I wanted to be an aerospace engineer. I was gung-ho. I was like, I want to be aerospace. And then I saw the classes that they were taking, and I was like, maybe I don't want to be an aerospace engineer because they're little rocket scientists. And although I do love math, I feel like the fast-paced curriculum was not going to be in my favor. And so I transitioned from wanting to do aerospace to wanting to do mechanical engineering. Then I realized mechanical engineering was extremely boring, in my humble opinion. And so I did a bit of more research, and then I landed on industrial and systems engineering. Mind you, I didn't declare my major until I think my sophomore year. Granted, Virginia Tech does this thing where your first year you don't declare a major. Everyone is general engineering, and then you go into your specific major after your freshman year, which is a good thing because it gave me more time to go shopping for what major I wanted. But if you change your major, it's okay. I think I wish people told me that more. But there's like a statistic that the average undergrad student changes their major 3 times in their entire academic career. So if that makes you feel better, you're not the only one. I mean, we're young people, and how are we supposed to expect ourselves to know what we want to pursue and what career we want to go for? Also, I will say, really quick side note, just because you graduated something doesn't mean your career has to be that. I graduated in engineering and I'm a consultant now. So I think that I have a friend who was a journalist and now she is a CS. Like, she works at a tech firm. So don't put so much pressure on yourself is what I want to say. 4th reason, I haven't been counting down for you guys, my bad. But 4th reason is I think that studying abroad is a must, mandatory, period, end of statement, full stop, exclamation mark. Studying abroad is one of the greatest things that someone can do for themselves because I studied abroad and it was the greatest experience of my life. Not only because you meet amazing people and your network then becomes global and your friendships are I feel like long lasting, you also develop a sense of cultural competency. I think it's not the case for everyone, but being able to go abroad and learn in a different country, preferably in a different language, honestly, that's what I did. It helps you so much. Besides the fact that it looks good on a resume, it's also just one of the most wonderful, life-changing. I feel like I sound like every person who's ever studied abroad, but it's true. It's really, really true that it's one of the greatest things. And if you ask anyone, they'll tell you you have to study abroad. And that's what I'm telling y'all. Please consider it. And I understand it's expensive, but what you could potentially do is, this is what I did. I did internships and then used my internship money to then pay for my study abroad. There are also ways you can be thrifty, like you can maybe go to a country where the dollar is stronger instead of doing the typical route where most people go to Europe. No hate. I studied abroad in Brazil and it was just a bit more cheap. Like, my whole entire experience was just cheaper. I have a friend who studied abroad in Colombia. So keep your mind open. Europe is not the only continent on this planet that has a lot to offer. And then the fifth is, oh my god, why am I like this? The fifth is be very careful about who you end up trying to make long-lasting friendships with. Because I've noticed that once I graduated college, going out into the real world and making new friends is much harder than what it is in college. In college, you just see people often, you see each other, you see people in classes, you walk to class together. It's just so much easier to cultivate a friendship in college. And so be very intentional about the friends that you're making in college. I think if I started out like wanting to be friends with everyone, and then, I mean, I think it's more sustainable in college because you're not working. I guess, I don't know. But I started to realize as I got older that I'm very happy with the friends that I made in college. I'm not as close with all of my friends that I was. I'm not as close with all my college friends, but it helps so much to just, it's just great to have a good network of people once you leave college, because you've been through so much with these people and you've had so many shared experiences that going out of college, it's great to still have those people with you. So just want to say this is a pretty easy point, but just be very careful with the friends that you make. Don't deal with BS. Toxic friends are not worth it. Don't even put yourself through it. So even though you can grow from them, we'll say I've had my fair share of toxic friendships. That's what I wanted to say. This concludes the video. I haven't been at this game for a while. I haven't done a YouTube video in a while, so I'm still a bit stiff, still rusty, but I know I'll get better. I just have to be consistent. That'll be a whole other video too. I love you all so much, and if there is anything that you would want my next video to be about, leave them in the comments. I'm not even gonna be a cliche and say subscribe. I think at this point, everyone on this earth knows that if you want to continue seeing videos, you just subscribe. So with that being said, I hope you all have a great day, and in case no one told you today, I love you.